There's a popular saying that goes, "Tell me who your friends are, and I'll tell you who you are." Many people think this is just old wives' tale, but in reality, it's a profound spiritual principle. The Bible is radically clear in 1 Corinthians 15:33 when it says that bad company corrupts good morals. It's not a suggestion, it's a law of cause and effect that works like gravity. You can be the most well-intentioned person in the world, full of plans for 2026 praying and fasting. But if you're tied to an anchor, the engine's power doesn't matter. The boat won't move. The wrong connection has the power to negate the right effort, draining your energy and diverting your focus. Often we think that our light will automatically change the darkness of others. But the biological and spiritual reality is that it's much easier for someone to pull you down than for you to pull someone up. It's easier to catch a cold from someone than to pass on health to a sick person simply with a hug. The Bible doesn't just tell us to pray for toxic people. In many cases, it explicitly tells us to distance ourselves from them to protect our purpose. Solomon, the wisest man who ever lived, left clear warnings about the types of people who destroy our destiny. In this video, we're going to do a pre-2026 cleanup. I'll show you, in light of the Bible, the types of people you need to love, forgive, but keep far away from your inner circle if you want to experience something new in the coming year. Get your list ready, because this will hurt, but it will heal. Topic 2. Profile 1. The gossip, the trust destroyer. The first profile that should remain in 2025 is the gossiper. Proverbs 16:28 says that a perverse man stirs up dissension, and a gossip separates close friends. A gossip is not just someone who talks too much. It's someone addicted to violating the privacy of others to feel important or accepted in a group. There's a golden rule about this type of person that you should never forget. Whoever brings gossip to you gets gossip from you. If the person sits at your table to badmouth their boss, friend, or pastor, be absolutely certain that when they leave your table, you will be the main topic of conversation. Keeping this type of person around creates an environment of constant insecurity. You can never be vulnerable, never share a dream or a weakness, because everything you say can and will be used against you in the court of public opinion. This generates an invisible anxiety that drains your strength. The Bible says in Proverbs 20:19, "Do not associate with a gossip." The instruction is not to try to change the person or ask them to talk less. The instruction is to cut off the association. Trust is the foundation of any relationship, and the gossip destroys that foundation with a daily jab. In 2026, shield your ears and your mouth. If someone comes at you with, "I have a secret to tell you about so-and-so," cut them off immediately. Those who don't know how to protect the honor of others certainly won't know how to protect their own. Leave that baggage behind. Topic 3. Profile 2. The irritated one, the rage addict. The second dangerous type is what the Bible calls the irritable man, or choleric man. In Proverbs 22:24, the advice is direct. Do not make friends with a hot-tempered man. Do not associate with a furious man. We are talking about that person who is always offended, explodes over anything, and creates a tense atmosphere wherever they go. The danger here is emotional contagion. The verse continues saying, "So that you do not learn their ways and ensnare your soul." Anger is highly contagious. If you live with someone who complains about the waiter, curses in traffic, and finds offense in everything, in 3 months, you will be doing the same. You begin to adopt a defensive and aggressive posture without realizing it. Your inner peace is stolen not by your own problems, but by the emotional instability of those around you. It's like walking through a minefield. You expend all your energy trying not to step on the mine and cause an explosion. This doesn't mean you should abandon friends in a time of difficulty, but there's a huge difference between someone who's having a bad day and someone who has a deep-seated spirit of bitterness. The angry person loves their own anger and refuses to be comforted or helped. For 2026, choose peace. You are not a rehabilitation center for people who don't want to change. If someone's presence makes your stomach churn and your heart race with constant stress, that's a red flag from God. Distance yourself before you become what you detest most. Topic 4. Profile 3. The mocker, the dream killer. Psalm 1 begins with a promise of happiness for those who do not sit in the company of mockers. The mocker is the cynic, the eternal critic, that person who scoffs at everything that is sacred, serious, or hopeful. If you have a new idea, he laughs. If you want to improve your life, he asks, why? This profile is toxic because it kills your purpose in the cradle. Faith needs an encouraging environment to grow. The mocker throws a bucket of cold water on any spark of enthusiasm you may have. They use humor, or realism, as a disguise for envy and disbelief. Remember Jesus at Jairus' house in Mark 5. When he said the girl was only sleeping, the people laughed at him. What did Jesus do? He commanded them all to leave. He drove the mockers out of the room before performing the miracle. Sometimes the miracle needs closed doors to happen. If you have big plans for 2026, a new business, a ministry, a wedding, don't share them with scoffers. They don't have the vision God has given you and will try to convince you that you're crazy. Protect your dreams as if they were newborn babies. Don't expose them to the coldness of others' criticism. Don't be afraid of seeming boring or isolated. It's better to walk alone with the certainty of God than to sit in a circle of people who laugh at what God takes seriously. Your future will thank you for this vacuum you will create. Topic 5. The Samson Syndrome, the person you love. Here we enter more difficult territory. We generally think of our enemies as people we hate, but the Bible shows that the greatest danger often comes from those we love. Samson was the strongest man in the world, anointed by God. But he had a weakness. He loved Delilah, a woman who had a plan to destroy him. The secular video we're modeling asks, does the person you like do this? That's the million-dollar question. Just because you like someone doesn't mean that person is good for your destiny. Affection can be a blind trap. Delilah didn't defeat Samson with strength. She defeated him with affection and manipulation. Perhaps you have someone in your life whom you love very much, a boyfriend, a childhood friend, a relative. But this person is constantly trying to cut your hair. They distance you from God, drain your resources, disrespect your values, and manipulate your emotions. Samson's warning is brutal. You can lose your eyes and your strength if you don't know how to set limits in love. To love doesn't mean allowing everything. To love doesn't mean leaving the door of your soul open to those who enter with scissors. It's possible to love from a distance, to pray from afar, but to lock the door of intimacy. In 2026, analyze the results, not just the feelings. If this person's presence causes you to violate your principles and weaken your communion with God, you are experiencing Samson syndrome. Cut the bond before the bond cuts your strength. Topic 6. The victim's profile, the energy vampire. Another profile that should be left behind is the professional victim. Think of the people of Israel in the desert. God freed them, parted the sea, gave them food from heaven, but they spent all day complaining. It was Moses' fault, it was the lack of meat, it was the sun's fault. They never took responsibility. A person with a victim mentality is exhausting. They never make mistakes. The world is always conspiring against them. If they lose their job, it's persecution. If a relationship ends, the other person was crazy. They drain your energy by asking for advice they never follow, and help that is never enough. If you take a victim in your backpack to 2026, you'll get tired of it in the first month. You'll try to save them. But those who see themselves as victims don't want to be saved. They want to be pitied. They use the pity of others as a bargaining chip and a means of manipulation. Furthermore, complaining attracts the desert. Israel spent 40 years going in circles because they never stopped complaining. If you associate with those who only complain, you will remain trapped in the same geographical and spiritual cycle as them. Gratitude opens doors. Victimhood closes them. Be compassionate. Help when you can, but don't take on problems that aren't yours. Don't become the emotional crutch for those who refuse to stand on their own 2 feet. You need walking partners for 2026, not passengers complaining about the car's speed. Topic 7. How Jesus did it, the circles of access. Many people feel Christian guilt when they hear this. But Jesus associated with everyone. Beware, This is only half the truth. Jesus loved everyone and preached to everyone, but he was extremely selective about who he had access to his intimacy. He had a very well-defined strategy of circles. There was the multitude, thousands who listened and received bread, but he dismissed them at the end of the day. There were the 70, who worked on the mission. There were the 12 apostles, close friends. And within the 12 there were Peter, James, and John, the inner circle that witnessed the transfiguration and the agony in Gethsemane. Jesus didn't take the crowd to the mountain of prayer. He didn't take Judas to see the transfiguration. He knew that not everyone had the spiritual strength to be in that secret place. He set clear boundaries. Love is a commandment. Intimacy is a matter of alignment and trust. Your mistake is trying to replace Peter, James, and John with people from the crowd. You take a gossip or a mocker and tell them your deepest secrets. That's not Christian love. That's a lack of wisdom. You're giving pearls to those who don't know their value. For 2026, draw your circles. Who deserves to be in the center? Who should be on the edge? Reclassifying people isn't rejection, it's protection. Put everyone in their rightful place and watch your life flow with much more ease and security. Topic 8. The cutting process, without guilt. The most difficult step is the practical action. How to cut ties without being rude. How to distance yourself without feeling like you're being a bad Christian. First, understand that forgiveness and reconciliation are different things. The Bible commands us to always forgive, release the debt. But reconciliation, restoring access, depends on a change in behavior. You can forgive someone who betrayed you and still decide that person will never again have a key to your house. That's wisdom. Cutting ties doesn't necessarily mean a dramatic fight or an aggressive social media block, although sometimes that's necessary. Often the cutoff is gradual. It's stopping answering the phone immediately. It's stopping justifying your no's. It's ceasing to share your intimacy. It's becoming too busy for gossip and complaining. The no is a holy fence that protects your garden. Don't carry the guilt of prioritizing yourself. If you sink emotionally, you won't be of help to anyone. Remember that even God sets limits. Sin separates man from God. If God has limits to protect his holiness, you must have limits to protect the sanity he gave you. Do it politely, lovingly, but firmly. So-and-so right now I'm focused on a project and can't talk much. Period. Don't give excessive explanations. A true friend will understand. A controlling person will be offended. Their offense is confirmation that you made the right choice. Topic 9. The vacuum, filling the space. Beware of the dangers of a vacuum. If you remove toxic people from your life and don't replace them, loneliness can make you miss the poison and revert back. Proverbs 13:20 says, "Walk with the wise and become wise." The second part of the strategy is to actively seek new connections. In 2026, you need to pray for divine connections. People who raise your level, who talk about ideas and not people, who have the fear of the Lord. People who are iron sharpening iron. These people exist, but you need to leave the cave to find them. Sometimes, the wise people you'll associate with at the beginning are virtual. They might be mentors in books, pastors in videos, or courses you take. Fill your ears with voices that build up, so there's no room left for voices that tear down. Don't be afraid to be alone for a while. Productive solitude is better than destructive company. Use this free time to strengthen yourself, to tidy up your inner self. When you change your frequency, you naturally begin to attract people who vibrate at that new frequency. The empty space you're creating now by clearing out toxicity is the ground where God will plant purposeful friendships that will flourish in the coming year. Trust in the replacement process that the Lord will perform. Topic 10. New Year's Challenge, Conclusion. We've reached the moment of truth. The year 2026 is just around the corner, and you can't enter the promised land carrying the spirit of Egypt in your friendships. The baggage you choose to carry will determine how far you'll be able to travel. I want to challenge you today. Grab a piece of paper or your phone's notepad. Identify who the Delilahs, the gossipers, or the victims are sitting in the seat of honor in your life. Be honest. Who every time they leave you leaves you feeling worse than when you arrived? Make the decision to reclassify these people today. Pray for them, forgive if necessary, but take back the key to your intimacy. Decide that your 2026 will be a year of healthy, light-hearted relationships that glorify God. Your mental and spiritual health is worth more than anyone's approval. Protect your heart, for from it flow the springs of life. If you want to learn how to attract excellent people and have a shielded mind for the new year, subscribe to the channel and join our remnant. Leave a comment. In 2026, I choose wisdom. Let's seal that commitment. Hugs, stay in peace, and start your decluttering today.